Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, my beautiful hot messes. My name is Mistress Lavender, and today I'm reading The 48 Laws of Power by Robert Greene. I'm on page 4. I know, we're on day 2 of this book. Leave me be. So I'm on page 4. That's where we left off. So if you missed that episode, go back to it. And before we begin, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and turn your post notifications on. Okay, page 4, and we're on Law 1. So Law 1 is never outshine the master. So we're going to finish it today. So keys to power, where we left off. Everyone has insecurities. When you show yourself to the world and display your talents, you naturally stir up all kinds of resentment, envy, and other manifestations of insecurity. This is to be expected. You cannot spend your life worrying about the petty feelings of others. With those above you, however, you must take a different approach. When it comes to power, outshining the master is perhaps the worst mistake of all. Do not fool yourself into thinking that life has changed much since the days of Louis X. Ivy and the Medicais. Those who attain high standing in life are like kings and queens. They want to feel secure in their positions and superior to those around them in intelligence, wit, and charm. It is a deadly but common misperception to believe that by displaying and vaunting your gifts and talents, you are winning the master's affection. He may feign appreciation, but at his first opportunity, he will replace you with someone less intelligent, less attractive, less threatening. Just like Louis, replaced the sparkling Farquhar and with the bland Colbert. And as with Louis, he will not admit the truth, but will find an excuse to rid himself of your presence. This law involves 2 rules that you must realize. First, you must inadvertently outshine a master simply by being yourself. There are masters who are more insecure than others, monstrously insecure. You may naturally outshine them by your charm and grace. No one had more natural talents than Astor Manfredi, Prince of Faenza, the most handsome of all the young princes of Italy. He captivated his subjects with his generosity and open spirit. In the year 1500, Caesar Borgia laid siege to Faenza. When the city surrendered, the citizens expected the worst from the cruel Borgia, who, however, decided to spare the town. He simply occupied its fortress, executed none of the victims, and allowed Prince Manfredi, 18 at the time, to remain with his court in complete freedom. A few weeks later, though, soldiers hauled Astro Manfredi away to a Roman prison. A year after that, his body was fished out of the river Tiber, a stone tied around his neck. Borgia justified the horrible deed with some sort of trumped-up charge of treason and conspiracy, but the real problem was that he was notoriously vain and insecure. The young man was outshining him without even trying. Given Manfredi's natural talents, the prince's mere presence made Borgia seem less attractive and charismatic. The lesson is simple. If you cannot help being charming and superior, you must learn to avoid such monsters of vanity. Either that or find a way to mute your good qualities when in the good company of a Caesar or Borgia. Second, never imagine that because the master loves you, you can do anything you want. Entire books could be written about favorites who fell out of favor by taking their status for granted, for daring to outshine. In late 16th century Japan, the favorite of Emperor Hideyoshi was a man called Sen no Rikyu, the premier artist of the tea ceremony, which had become an obsession with the nobility. He was one of Hideyoshi's most trusted advisors, had his own apartment in the palace, and was honored through Japan. Yet, I don't know why I looked at the camera. In 1591, Hideyoshi had him arrested and sentenced to death. Rikyu took his own life instead. The cause for this sudden change of fortune was discovered later. It seems that Rikyu, former peasant and later court favorite, had a wooden statue made of himself wearing sandals, a sign of nobility, and posing lawfully. He had, why is there two heads? This statue placed in the most important temple inside the palace gates, in clear sight of the royalty who often would pass by. To Hiroisha, this significant that Rikoi had no sense of limits, presuming that he had the same rights as those of the highest nobility. He had forgotten that his position depended on the emperor, and had come to believe that he had earned it on his own. Ooh, this was unforgivable. This was an unforgivable miscalculation of his own importance, and he paid for it with his own life. Remember the following: never take your position for granted, and never let any favors you receive go to your head. Period. Knowing the dangers of outshining your master, you can turn this law to your advantage. First, you must flatter and puff up your master. Overt flattery can be effective, but has its limits. It is too direct and obvious, and looks bad to other coteries. Discreet flattery is much more powerful. If you are more intelligent than your master, for example, seem the opposite, make him appear more intelligent than you. Act naive. Make it seem that you need his expertise. Commit harmless mistakes that will not hurt you in the long run, but will give you the chance to ask for his help. Masters adore such requests. A master cannot bestow on you the gifts of his expertise, may direct rancor and ill at you instead. If your ideas are more creative than your master's, ascribe them to him in a public manner as possible. Make it clear that your advice is merely an echo of his advice. If you surpass your master in wit, it is okay to play the role of the court jester, but do not make him appear cold or slurry by comparison. Tone down your humor if necessary, and find ways to make him seem the dissember of amusement and good cheer. If you are naturally more sociable and generous than your master, be careful not to be the cloud that blocks radiance from others. He must appear as the sun around which everyone revolves, radiating power and brilliance, the center of affection. If you are thrust into the position of entertaining him, a display of your limited means may win you his sympathy. Any attempt to oppress him with your grace and generosity can prove fatal. Learn from Fakwa or pay the price. In all of these cases, it is not a weakness to disguise your strength if in the end they lead to power. By letting those outshine you, you remain in control instead of being a victim of their insecurity. This will all come in handy the day you decide to rise above your inferior status. If, like Galileo, you can make your master shine even more in the eyes of others, then you are a godsend and will be instantly promoted. Image: the stars in the sky. There can only be one sun at a time. Never obscure the sunlight or rival the sun's brilliance. Rather, fade into the sky and find ways to heighten the master's star intensity. Authority: avoid outshining the master. All superiority is odious. What? But the superiority of the subject over his prince is not only stupid, it is fatal. This is a lesson that the stars in the sky teach us. They may be related to the sun and are just as brilliant, but they may never in her company. Balastar Garsadian, 1601 through 1658. R.I.P. Reversal: you cannot worry about upsetting every person you come across, but you must be selectively cruel. If your superior is a falling star, there is nothing to fear from outshining them. Do not be merciful. Your master had no such scruples in his own cold-blooded climb to the top. Gouge his strength. If he is weak, discreetly hasten his downfall. Outdo, outcharm, outsmart him at key moments. If he is very weak and ready to fall, let nature take its course. Do not risk outshining a feeble superior. It may appear cruel and spiteful, but if your master is firm in his position, yet you know yourself to be the more capable, bide your time and be patient. It is the natural course of of things that power eventually fades and weakens. Your master will fall someday, and if you play it right, you will outlive and someday outshine him. Period. Oh, okay, so that's the end of law number 1. So I'm gonna stop there. I'm on page 8. If you, this book is thick, so I'm stopping there on page 8. I'm gonna start next episode on page 8. How many times am I gonna say 8? At law 2, never put too much trust in friends. Learn how to use enemies. Ooh. I don't want to try it. I'm definitely keeping this in. I don't know how to edit yet, so hold on. But again, my name is Mrs. Lavender. We just are reading the 40 Laws of Power. I'm on page 8, as I said before. And I'll see you next episode. So make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know, have you read this book? Are you reading this book? Are you going to get this book? And if not, what book are you reading? You know what I'm saying? Like, we should be reading the same book together, you know? I think that makes sense. So yeah, I'll see you next episode. I need to learn how to edit. You know what I'm saying? I really need to learn how to edit. I really do. But that's for the end of the day. Bye. Oh, it's still on. Awkward.